Hi, YouTube fans. This is Matt of Post April 6th. Before I do the actual bucket list, something I know many of you have been waiting on, let me show you something. This is a plateau-bottomed freehand straight grain pipe. I paid $50 for it on eBay, and this stem is a replacement. It's not a vulcanite stem, it is lucite, authentic black lucite. I spent a considerable amount of time forming the bucket list, and I put them on little 3x5 cards consisting of about 3 different colors: blue, green, and yellow. And I wrote the contents down on a Sharpie black marker like this, a flare pen like this, green and ink of course, and a blue flare pen. So here goes the list. The bucket list. The bucket list consists of 3 parts: local, other parts of the United States, and international. So, number 1 is Denver Health Medical Center. That was the hospital I got treatment at from April 6, 2011 till June 24th, after a severe head trauma from getting hit by a white Nissan Maxima car that was driving 30 miles an hour in speed, and I was hit at somewhere between 8:10 and 8:15 p.m. I nearly lost my life. 2, the actual scene of getting hit by a car. It is on the intersection of South Tamarack and East Hamden, but the actual striking injury occurred on South Tamarack, not East Hamden. Number 3, I have gotten approval from not Jerry Goodman, because that man has passed away back in 2005, but his son, Brett, owns it. Brett Goodman has given me approval, according to what his manager has said to me on Brett's behalf, that I'm allowed to film the inside of Jerry's Tobacco Shop and Fine Wines. But I got rules to follow. I have to smoke in the patio in the back that is right outside the tobacco shop. Because where it's located in a prestigious 4-star hotel, and those are the rules that they must follow to keep the store open that is set by the Sheraton Hotel. Number 4. The location where Associated Diesel Service on North Jackson was located at from 1975 to 1980. You see, this is a business that my father started from scratch back in 1973 when he was only 28 years of age. And the building is unique, one of a kind, red brick industrial building. And it's it's on the northern edge of the city and county of Denver, and it's close to Adams County / Commerce City, Colorado. Just a second. There was a police report filed, and I will do a video that will be that will not be this. It will be at the scene of itself, and then I'll also pause and show scenes of the accident itself that was included in a police report. Number 6, Twist and Shout Records on East Colfax Avenue, even though I don't see East Colfax. A great records, CDs, DVDs, and music items for sale. They even have used cassettes in that store, and a few new ones. Number 7, I'll do this in here. It will be me smoking a Dunhill pipe that I own, that I got for free for doing some cleaning up of some pipes of a man who I know named Rick, who had been collecting some, who got these inherited from a customer of his at his job at a, well, I better not say, it's one of those stores where they do some picture framing, and they have lots of arts and crafts. Really, really neat stuff. I've known that man, Rick, since 1996. He's a good man. Number 8, Tobacco Leaf Collectibles. That tobacco shop is located on the far, far west part of Alameda, and it just moved from where it was, which is near Alameda, West Alameda and Teller, to, I think it's going to be Garrison, which is about 3 or 4 blocks west. They're moving because, well, that's what the owner decided to do. I'm not going to ask him questions about it, because there's a cardinal rule when you interact with a tobacco shop leader. There are certain questions you just don't ask him, because it could piss him off and he don't want nothing to do with you. Or even if he don't want nothing to do with you, he's going to be pretty irritated just by asking, and you don't do that. Forney's Museum of Collectible Automobiles in the Denver area. See, where it used to be on the western part of like 15th Street or something like that, near the Platte River, it's gone away from there. I forget exactly where it is now, but it's in a different location, and it's it's a more pleasant place to visit because things are more well kept up and it's less dusty and whatnot. Tattered Cover Bookstore. It's right next to Twist and Shout Records. And I will only go in there if I get permission from management to just do some basic filming around in there. If they say no, then no filming, nothing doing. A neighborhood that was, it may still be called this, it's called Centennial Neighborhood. There's a Centennial Park there, and it's near West Bellevue and South Federal. That's the good part of Federal Boulevard, because you go north, and let me tell you, you are in around some evil kids who are the worst violent druggies you ever seen. I mean, they're scarier than hell. Just the looks of them, they look like the devil themselves, or at least 2/3 as bad. Ooh. I ain't going to that part unless I absolutely have to of North Federal. Just a minute. I had to pause and get my pipe straightened out. Bible Park. It is between Monaco Street Parkway, South Monaco Street Parkway, and South Quebec. It's a beautiful park. My late mother, God rest her soul, used to like to go in there to do some walking as a form of exercise for her heart. Yes, she died of a pretty serious heart disease issue related to childhood diabetes. And the 25th of August, I may have mentioned this before, was the saddest day of my life. I saw her die unconscious in coronary care of St. Joseph's Hospital. Bucket List Part 2, which means, I know you can see this, but I'll say it anyways, other parts of the USA or the United States. And these are all mainland United States. It's not Puerto Rico and U.S. territories. Number 1, Louis Lunch in New Haven, Connecticut. This place is, and I swear to God it's true after carefully doing research, the oldest hamburger joint restaurant in the United States. And it was probably the first one. And at this location, you cannot put ketchup on the burger, because if you do, they're going to ask you to leave. Don't sneak in a little packet of ketchup in your pocket and go and put it on your burger, because they're going to yell at you and say, "Don't do that again. Get out of here," or they're going to get mad. Ben's Chili Bowl in Washington, D.C., as well as other tourist attractions such as the United States Capitol, the Smithsonian Institute, the a thing called like News International or News something, and the Washington Monument, and Georgetown Tobacco Shop. Georgetown Tobacco Shop is a really classy, fabulous, one-of-a-kind tobacco shop. It's out of this world. I think the man named, well, I better not say his last name. His name is David. I think he still runs that place, and that guy has got to be at least 78, 79 years old, or in his 80s. He's old. And unless he retired and the torch has been passed, so to speak, to someone else, he still works there. Ben and Jerry's in Waterbury, Connecticut, the factory. It's also a tour factory. It's in the state of Vermont. It's worth seeing. I've seen a YouTube clip about it, and that place is just wonderful. Miss Worcester Diner, Worcester, Massachusetts. That place, I've never been there. Never been to anywhere in Massachusetts. But I've seen several YouTube clips about it, and the lady who runs it is a neat lady. She really is. And the restaurant itself exists inside of an old streetcar, streetcar train car that is pretty neat. It's really neat to be there. It's quite an experience. Never been there, but I'm just saying what I know from looking at YouTube clips about it. Number 5, the Dakotas, or the Dakotas, 1 West 72nd Street, New York City. It was the location where John Lennon was gunned down, and he quite sadly passed away. He was shot 5 times by Mark David Chapman. That really hurts. But that man died like that. And they tried valiantly to resuscitate him. They even did an incision, at least this is what I've heard. They did an incision, a heart surgeon or a trauma specialist did surgeon to his heart and did a heart massage to try to revive him. And it didn't work. Poor Yoko Ono. Okay, the Space Needle in Seattle, Washington, along with the last, and I'll just go from the outside and just walk past it. I'm not going to go in. Of the condo where Lane Staley of Alice in Chains passed away from severe drug abuse and a terrible drug overdose. And I want to see some other things in Washington, D.C., like the area where the Kirsten Pipes tobacco shop is. Not the factory, the tobacco shop. Because they sell pipes and they sell Kirsten pipes, and they also sell pipe tobacco and cigars. Tampico, Illinois. That is where, I'm sure you can read this, is where President Ronald Reagan was born. Way, way, way back in 1911. I believe they have a house that is like a little museum. And what's inside the house is, it's been set back up to look like the way it did when he lived there with his parents. I want to go to Flint, Michigan, to Saginaw Street, and go to Paul's Pipe Shop and Pipe Hospital. Yes, Paul's Pipe Shop is a great, great place. And the owner, Mr. Spinolia, I have discussed with him that I mentioned his tobacco shop, and he is quite grateful that I've done that in several vlogs. Nice smart water. I needed it. Yuli's Tobacco Shop, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They got some really good blends. One is an English blend called Bishop something. I got it a long, long time ago. I haven't had smoked it recently. But in the last few years, I think it was about 2-3 years ago, I did get an aromatic blend called Harshooter. Good blend. Bob Jones Private University in Greenville, South Carolina. That is a deeply Christian evangelical private university. And what I will do if I decide to go there is I'm going to check with the admissions office or the administrative office about filming there and what the rules would be. And if I can't go there, I can't. I'm not going to hold a grudge. The Coca-Cola factory in Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, I would only want to go to Atlanta, Georgia for that, and I'd only stay like a day, maybe 2 days, and I'd really watch my back, because I don't like to say this, but I've heard a lot of things about how Atlanta, Georgia is unsafe. There's some bad, bad dudes out there. You mess with them and they'll beat me to a pulp, or worse. Kill me. Stay a few days in Glasgow, Montana. Glasgow, Montana is a very unique, one-of-a-kind small town, and I think they have a couple of museums and tourists. They have several tourist attractions, and overall, I think that it's just a really nice, friendly, small town. A VIP tour of Universal Studios theme park in it's Universal City / Hollywood, California, Los Angeles. I know that if I'm going to do the VIP tour, it's a special, I think it's a special package deal where it's a VIP tour itself, and you get in on a hotel that's nearby. At least that's what I've heard. Now, I'm going to contact Universal Studios themselves and get the rundown of how it works before I go. And 14. Laconia, New Hampshire. Basically tour the whole town. That is a beautiful, beautiful, really pleasant place to be. Never been there, but I've thought about it, and I actually made an attempt to move to the state of New Hampshire and get a house that is located in Berlin, New Hampshire, which is way, way, way up at the top. I mean, not Canada top, but Coos County top. One of those ones that's kind of like this. It's kind of, it's got sort of an odd roundish, sort of jagged edged shape. It's really cold up there. And I mean cold. Bucket list, part 3, international travels. London, England. I'm going to want to see the Big Ben and the bridge that is nearby. I'm going to want to see Abbey Road, where the Beatles did a lot of recording of all their songs between 1962 and when they broke up in 1970 or 69. I think it might have been August 69, but then they came in to finish the album that came after Abbey Road, which was Let It Be, because see, they recorded that first, and then they just put it in the back burner, and then they did Abbey Road, and then they tried to bring back Let It Be, which they did, and they released that in May of 1970 a month or two after the Beatles formally disbanded and broke up. And there's some other tourist attractions like the Sherlock Holmes at 221B Baker Street, and lots of other things. There's some great things to see in London. Liverpool, England, where the Beatles are from. I want to see all 4 of the houses that the Beatles lived in. I want to go see the Cavern Club and some of the Beatles-related tourist buildings and the tourist-related things that concern the Beatles, or all 4 of the Beatles. And there's also, I think, Mersey Beat and the area called Admiral Dock or something like that. And there's lots and lots to look at. Lots and lots and lots. And it looks, and some people think, oh, I bet that the geography on that's huge. Well, you go to a certain part and you go from one end to the other, you got a lot to see, but you don't have very far to walk, like only about a couple of miles, or maybe even less than that. Dublin, Ireland. And I will go there mostly for the sole purpose of going to the Peterson Pipe Factory. I've owned several Petersons. A couple of different ones that were the Peterson system pipe, and I owned another one that was called Shamrock or something like that, where it wasn't a system pipe, but it had that stem where it had that distinct Wellington loop, and instead of the air path going like this, it curves and goes up like that, and it hits the roof of your mouth, and it doesn't. Excuse me. It doesn't burn your tongue if you really like to go with your pipe. I make sure not to do that because otherwise I'll get a bad buzz. Paris, France. I'd like to see the Eiffel Tower, tobacco shops, and some other tourist attractions because there's lots and lots to see there. Five, Edinburgh, Scotland. I'd like to tour the whole city. Once I get there, I'm just going to have to do the proper thorough research and just kind of play it by ear, or speak with someone and have them advise me what's the best to do and where it is. Copenhagen, Denmark. They have some really good Danish free hands to buy out there. And they would cost at least a little bit less than what you pay here. And I've heard that a lot of the foods they have are sweet and really tasty. Not just candies. We're talking about sandwiches and breakfast pastries, breakfast entrees, and some other things. Jerusalem, Israel. I will go there for holy sites and prepare to do lots of prayer. That is a very holy city. I'd like to see the sites that concern where Jesus Christ was born and where Jesus Christ, the tomb, where he was buried. And now I'll talk about Canada. In Montreal, Quebec, I want to see the Montreal Fine Arts Museum. I just looked this up about an hour or two ago. That looks like a really neat place, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the Montreal steak. I bet the Montreal steaks out there are so good. But I'm not going to do the great big one in Texas that's bigger than this. That 70-ounce one. That really filled me up. Oh, Ugh. I just wanna, you know, struggle to get back to my hotel and just lay down and crash and not move very much. Vancouver, Canada, in British Columbia. One of the reasons I'd like to go there is there's a lot of neat things to do, and it's a nice, settled, laid-back, beautiful city. And I'm not supposed to say this, but I will. When my father got remarried in 1995, him and his wife, who he's still with, went out there for their honeymoon. And here's number 10. Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. And I think what it does is there's another part of Niagara Falls that is in the United States state of New York. It's the Niagara Falls area of New York. Now, I bet a lot of you are asking, were you just going to go out there? No, because one, and this is a vitally, vitally important first step, I must get a United States passport that will cost over $120 or $130 in my possession. And then I'm going to have to probably get a visa for some of these areas outside the United States before I would go. You don't just go out there without a U.S. passport. That's a big, 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 big no-no. I'm going to do things the legal way, the right way. And I'm going to make sure to have the money on hand to do this. And be careful about my spending habits, because if you don't got enough money to get home, life is quite depressing. And I can't go through that. I can't. Well, that's my bucket list. And there's more things that I would cover than about the accent that I had, tobacco shops, and local things. There's things I'd like to do where eventually I'm going to start making my own flashcards and doing some mathematic type tests. I'm going to do some reading of a really nice dictionary I have. It's a Merriam-Webster. I mean, that thing is huge. It's like about this wide. It's about, at least that tall. And it's big and bulky. It's got tens of thousands of words. It ain't some little paperback thing you buy for under $5. Well, that's the end of this vlog, and I hope all of you enjoy what you see in my channel. Good day, good night, and have a pleasant life. Thank you very much. Vlog over.